So I did a video yesterday, and this had been going through my mind for a while. It was a great opportunity to talk about it so that you feel less pissed off for those of you who work in America. So the video couple back, no joke, they brought in front of the Minnesota legislature because it looks like there might be some federal cuts to funding for SNAP or food benefits. And Amy Klobuchar, a congresswoman over in the Minnesota legislature, hauled. They must have brought a crane to bring this fat woman in. She has to be 300 pounds. Fat woman to complain that she can't afford food. And the Democrats were so tone deaf. They keep playing this broken record, which I think some of you former Democrat voting men may are getting sick and tired of. I'm a single mom of 4, and I need more of your money. And you're like, what the? And then some of you went and saw the video. Like, it's not made up. It's not a joke. It isn't shtick. It isn't like TikTok where they purposely try to agitate you, but they're not sincere about it. This was not professional wrestling. There was legit, I think, single mom of 4. I can't afford food. She's over 300 pounds in front of the minute. I wonder what the sane Republicans, or maybe even some of the sane Democrats within the Minnesota legislature are like, what the fuck is it? Right. Not all you Democrats are idiots, right? Some of you, you might have a semblance of streets. Not all of you are trust fund babies, right? 1 or 2 of you must have worked a real job. 1 or 2 of you must have lived in the real world. And then you got this 300-pound wampalo. I can't. I Han Solo. I cannot afford food. But now is a great time to talk about what the stated goals or purpose of welfare is, and then what it actually ends up doing, both of which can be congruent and happen at the same time. But the whole idea of welfare, whether it was SNAP, TAMF, state, federal, local, whatever, any charity given to a person, any money, any taxpayer money given to a person, there you go. Unless you're like working like a teacher or military, right? So SNAP, TAMF, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. I paid into this. Shut up. And you voted to piss it all away. I'm the economist here. Please be quiet now. And regardless of it, it's to ameliorate poverty, right? It's to lessen the harshness of poverty with the general intention is you're down on hard times. We'll give you some temporary aid. And then like an insurance. This is a lot of times they call it social insurance in European countries, these programs, so that you then get back to work. And ever since the welfare state in 1965 was started, liberal white women took over this country. Now it's just a hammock. Now it's just a lifestyle. And everyone scrambles to hide behind a trait or a reason or a cause that they can't possibly work. I got the autisms. I got the agoraphobia, whatever it's called. I'm disabled. No one's going to know where that one's from. I'm a single mom. Right? This is not 1950 where Jim is down. Oh, they shut down the factory. Let's help out Jim a little bit. And Jim's actively looking for another job. This has become a lifestyle. And you guys are all very pissed off about it. Those of you who are working productive producers of society. So, whereas that's the stated goal of any kind of social insurance policy, welfare program, whatever you want to call it, it has succeeded in that regard. It has ameliorated the poverty. It has prevented people from starving, even more so now that we have the world's fattest poor. People don't have to worry about the food, clothing, and shelter. A lot of times you don't even have to worry about your health costs. It is to take away what has I'm defending the intentions because for the longest time, hunger, cold, starvation, and the worry that came with surviving to the next day, that's real. Ask me how I know. That's real. And if you could get rid of that, like, hey, we know this is we're gonna help. We're gonna help you out. So and we've done that. That has done its job. But now my question is, has it though? Because whereas everyone who works and is a producer, not a parasite in this society, and that's what you are. Don't tell me I need a student loan bailout, yet I'm independent. No, you are a parasite. That is the definition of parasitism. While that angers all of you for people who are now and increasingly abusing the system, what I have noticed, because I don't have kids and I don't give a fuck and I can get by on what little money I make. As a philosopher looking over these fruited plains, is ironically how miserable people collecting welfare are, whatever form of welfare it might be, right? I, it took me a while to figure it out, but I'm like, dude, you got maybe it's not the world's greatest housing, right? But you got housing. Maybe it ain't the greatest food. Well, I mean, you can buy whatever food now because you get a food card or whatever, and they're not too finicky about what you buy. I mean, you get to buy whatever garbage food you want or good food. Some of you even get TAMF, actual money. We got the stimmy checks, right? I'm like, how are you miserable? How are you poor? Like, go look at anyone out there on welfare, right? I found a picture of a guy who was a drug addict, right? But I mean, run the gambit. Uh, on the high end, you got some privileged princess who's gotten her student loans deferred forever, living off of mom and dad, also form of welfare, barely making it, but it's got to put on the face. Got to put on the face that she's a strong, independent girl boss in New York City, living the dream, right? But then her finances are shit. Probably working some job just to get by, right? Okay, but still on some kind of government assistance or assistance from her parents, right? I'll consider it the same thing. Shit, lady, you've had welfare. The government has deferred your student loan payments and has it accrued interest. Your parents still give you a subsidy. Dare I suggest maybe you've gotten a free meal or two with some men you've let on, right? And don't fool yourself. I don't care. Like the best they post, the best they only put on the best face on the internet. They don't show you the torture and the torment and them worrying about money. That's your best. On the other extreme, you got people who have never had to work a day in their life, typically in very generous, charitable state and local. Because you can have federal programs, you could also have state and local, and then the nonprofits come in. Liberal white woman to the rescue. What's liberal white women's favorite hobby? Giving away other people's money that isn't theirs to complete strangers. It makes them wet. They're so excited. My God. Don't you have a kid? Who? Never mind. On the other extreme, where you have very generous welfare, dude, you don't have to do shit. And it kind of shows you if a human being doesn't have to work or have any responsibility, sometimes they just go really depraved, where you have drug addicts who are going through convulsing. Well, you see that in Appalachia, not just to pick on California, but in Appalachia does have a ton of freaking welfare compared to California, but enough, right? I was in Wyoming. Holy shit. I they say Wyoming's a conservative state. Like, yeah, let me show you some meth heads at trailer parks and alcoholics and just piss poor people missing their goddamn teeth. They're not happy. I didn't meet one happy Wyomingian that was under the poverty line, which is like 95% of them. Like, people living in trailers aren't happy. I guess that'd be your mid-tier, right? But then on the other extreme, you got whacked out drug addicts. You got people shitting in the streets of California. You got, I guess would be your your unconnected, non-nepo baby, non-trust fund Democrats, activists. Like, you didn't come from a wealthy family, but you're still gonna do the cause, so now you're getting into kinda like gutter punk, Antifa. You wake up and your goal that day isn't to go find a job, but to go to whatever, the food bank and then go protest or riot, right? You got your I guess what I'd be most curious about would be your generational welfare generation after welfare generation, where and I kinda saw this, white family, by the way, so it's not exclusive to the Black community, but the type you walk in, it smells, and everyone's watching Jerry Springer, right? Always I kinda wonder, and I kinda don't wonder, I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" Like, if you don't have to work, what do you right? When you're kids, right? When you're kids, we kinda get this opportunity, this choice. What are you gonna do with summer vacation, right? You don't have to work. You're essentially a welfare bum because your parents or the government or both are paying for everything. So what do you do? Well, when we were kids, we went out and played. Now, did we watch probably too much TV? Yes. Did we probably play a little bit too much video games? No such thing. I don't think we did play too much video games, to be perfectly honest. But at the same time, we went out and played. We'd build forts. We played, pickup games in the neighborhood of whatever, baseball, basketball, football. There was some industriousness. There was some now, but then we go to another family and we look and it's the Jerry Springer show. And even as a kid, I'm like, don't you guys want to go out and play? Like, this is weird shit for you got that skis, right? Uh, I'll give you another angle. Okay. Not necessarily welfare, but people who had nothing going on or chose to have nothing going on. If you were ever babysat by a World War II generation woman, or maybe an older baby boomer woman, dude, they're watching their goddamn soaps. Oh my God, the soap. Have you ever, I mean, they're not on television no more, but even as a 3-year-old, I'm like, something's wrong about this. And what it was is a tremendous waste of life. That's what it was. It's a sinkhole. It's a vampire sucking your time and your life out. Now, maybe not you because you're forced to sit there. But the lady watching, I mean, I'm wondering how many housewives, like, you could, I don't know, gardening, something else, going out, exercise, what no, you're sitting there watching your fucking soaps. That was big in the 70s and 80s. But more modernly today, okay, so what it's basically that version today of younger than World War II generation people, obviously, because they're not alive anymore. What are you doing? Watching TV, playing video games, getting drunk, doing pot, right? And when you that lifestyle, which I guess would be the stereotypical lifestyle, right? Doesn't matter. Barrio, ghetto, trailer park. Just sitting at home watching TV. You're just at home. You're not doing anything. You're not go I could see you're on welfare and you usually just go fucking hike all over the place or kayaking, something. That makes sense, but that's not it. Everyone sits the fuck down and does nothing with their life. And what I realized that all welfare really does is enables people to be lazy and just keeps them alive long enough so that they suffer more. That's it. Because you can't tell me whether on the high end, you're a pretty little privileged princess who is still poor and worrying about money. Fine, your food, clothing, and shelter is taken care of, but it's tight, right? Unless you're a suburbanite princess. But I'm talking to someone on actual welfare. You're not wealthy, right? You're not. You don't have any savings. You might actually have to be working poor, right? That sucks. The financial instability, not knowing whether or not you're gonna have your housing renewed or I don't know how Section 8 housing works. Inflation going up, now your EBT card doesn't buy you as much. But then what also's gotta piss you off is that other people simply have more. Now, no one's ever explained to you that it's because those people probably worked for it, saved their money, didn't have more kids than they could afford. right? Democrat teachers are real good about not explaining how wealth is made and keeps you poor. But that's got to be maddening. But then there's also this existential thing like, hey, what are you doing today? And if you got nothing to do and nowhere to go and nowhere to be, you know what you do? You become very insular, not only socially, but you start looking at drugs. Your brain can't just sit there doing nothing, right? Video games are one of the healthiest options out of all this world where you just placate your mind. You hit it with drugs. All right, you're playing video games. Well, at least that's not chemically fucking up your brain and your nervous system. But most of you don't do that. You're on Adderall, you're on pot, you're on alcohol, you're on maybe some of the harder stuff. I think, frankly, the prescription drugs, on antidepressants, right? You girls got everything in the fucking world and you're still on antidepressants. You ain't got no point and purpose and reason in life. And that's what you're trying to do. So when you factor it in that you don't have to do anything, there's nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to see, but you're too lazy to get off your ass and go do that. And we have a very charitable government like, that's all right. We'll keep you alive longer. Like, imagine you're one of these weird, creepy, scary horror things in the science fiction shows where like RoboCop is just the brain and the brain stem kept alive in a vat. That's what government welfare does. It keeps you alive in a miserable fucking state, whether that's Section 8 housing, some kind of shit neighborhood, the trailer park. You could actually be in a nice house and living on welfare. It's not necessarily the physical environment that makes that a hell, though that can be it too. But your mental environment, you got nowhere to go, nothing to do, nothing to see. You're not human. You're not doing anything. And you know what? That causes depression. And now you're faced with this paradox, right? Where everyone is equally lazy. Some people have the courage to go and do work, and some people know that work is the easy way out of life. The cowards and the weaklings and the people who are just scared shitless of labor, they think the easy way is there's somehow an easy way to get to greatness and survive. And they will not choose the hard way because they think that's the hard way and that they have the easy way. And there's right SoundCloud rappers. Am I right? Tell me I'm not wrong here. Tell me I'm right. Okay. You're going to get your beatbox and you're going to make some shitty fucking notes. It's flooded just like country music. No one gives a fuck. Right, ladies? OnlyFans? My hoo-ha's different than the other hoo-ha's. Right? And then you hope you're going to make it big. Not a coincidence that most people who play the lottery are poor because you're going to make it big. But little do you know, your fear of work and coasting and some your day, that's way harder than joining the military, getting the GI Bill, getting shot at for 4 years, and then going to major in engineering. Hard as that is, this way is a lot harder. And the reason why is human beings aren't built to do nothing, right? This is like a fighter plane that stays in the hangar all day, its entire service life. And that's where I think the real pain and suffering is. Not only are you worried about food, clothing, shelter, and basics, because you're right there, right? You're not a trust fund baby, which is another form of welfare. You're not AOC, Joe Biden, Barack Obama. You're not those rich Democrats. You're a poor Democrat. Right? I mean, it's real. You can see the poverty. You're probably living it. So you got to worry about all those financial worries, stability, and just living day to day. But then what's really torturing, which is keeping you in that science fiction nightmare bubble brainstem with a spine, brain, and all that. It was creepy. I think there was RoboCop, wasn't it? Or RoboCop 2? You got nothing to do, man. And that's why you're looking for something to stimulate your mind with. And you know, when you're a kid, yeah, and everything is novel and new, sure. Well, let's go play baseball. Let's go bike around on our BMX. Even when you get into the experiment, yeah, let's try some drugs. Let's try drinking. But the novelty wears off on that shit. Let's watch Jerry Springer. Let's play our video games or whatever. And that's why these people are I would say that 60% of their miseries, they have no point and purpose and meaning in life. But they're too fucking cowardly to break out of that vat of biological goo and go be industrious and get a job and a purpose in life. Because in their minds, oh my God, there's nothing worse than a job. There's nothing worse than working. Oh my God. It's like, yeah, actually, there is something worse than working. It's the life that you live in right now. And man, you Democrats are just happy to keep him in that fucking cage. Like, here's some more. We'll just keep you alive. Stay in your cage, vote Democrat. Here's some more food. Here's some, like, you're just really, tell me how it's any different than you're essentially living in solitary confinement or that creepy vat of goo that keeps the brain alive. How is it any different? You're stuck there the entire time. And the Democrats don't have to really do much because it's human nature. They just got to keep you alive. We'll pay you for your food, clothing, and shelter. And you never hit bottom. You're never threatened with like actual starvation, actual cold, like I was, which motivates you to get off your ass and go kick ass and actually do something. And although not strictly welfare related, but you're miserable in that life. And it doesn't surprise me that antidepressant use is up. You're not living up to your role. And I make the further point, ladies, you're not getting married, not having kids. You're not getting dicked down. No wonder you're depressed. You're fucking working all the time, whether you're collecting welfare or not. My point is, if you don't do what you're designed to do, and humans are designed, sorry, you're designed to work and strive and ultimately succeed and endure and persevere. You're to accomplish. And if you don't do that, you sit and wallow and you atrophy and you fucking suffer, right? Let's go back in the before time, right? There's no welfare. There's no liberal white Karens to keep you alive with their husbands and taxpayers' money, right? There was never this medium stasis, right? There was never this intermediary gray area state where you're alive but not living. You're alive but not doing. If you didn't work, you'd starve. So you were forced to get off your ass and go do, whether it was hunt the mammoth or farm or fight the tribe, whatever, right? You couldn't lie around watching Jerry Springer all day. You couldn't jerk off to Nebraska all the time. It's not in our DNA. Now, it sucked having to fight the other tribe or track down the mammoth or whatever, right? That was work, but you know something, it gave you something to do. And then you took down the mammoth. Look, you guys ever play a game like in organized sports? Maybe not even organized, but just a game, right? You play in a sports game, football, basketball, doesn't matter. And you beat the team. How'd it make you feel? Do you feel good? Right. You beat the warring tribe. Now, you didn't kill anyone, hopefully not. But that victory, how was that day? Was that better? I'll give you another example, right? I got a car and I cleaned the engine bay. Cars' engine bays don't really need to be cleaned. I mean, they can't be horribly dirty that it starts to interfere with the engine, but your engine bay doesn't need to be cleaned that much. And I had a little bit of free time. Well, that's a different discussion. I'll make that point later. I had some time. I didn't really have any real obligation. I didn't have to put in a retaining wall or lay down concrete. I mean, most of my chores were done. And I could play video games. Video games suck nowadays, but I could play video games. I could have played poker. I could have done something actually fun, right? I decided to clean the engine bay in my car. Now, that's kind of work. Well, it is manual labor, light manual labor. But at the end of the day, or actually the end of the week, when it was all said and done, I'd scraped off all the rust and, a fair amount of labor. It was like 30 hours of work. I have this clean engine bay. The irony is you don't see it. You close the hood. Unless you go to them car shows and you open up the hood. So, look at a clean engine bay. But I closed it. You don't see it. but it felt good. I had this accomplishment. It made you feel alive because I was alive. I was serving my purpose. I was accomplishing something. Not vital, but I accomplished something. The best feeling I have nowadays is when I finish a book. Dude, writing fucking sucks. I hate writing. Oh, author, that's great. That must be fun. Did you ever write a book report in the fourth grade? Yeah. Imagine writing a 250-page book report. Does that fucking sound fun to you? Oh, yeah. Being an author. Like, no, it's not fun. It sucks. Uh, but I get a hit when finally I hit publish, right? And there's like this endorphin, right? There's like this endorphin period where, and then the reviews come in and people like it. I'm sure you chefs, like you real ones, not the ones that went to like Le Cordon Bleu or the bullshit schools, like actual chefs, you come up with something, you create a dish and everybody likes it, right? It's kind of the same thing. You created something. Ladies, right? When you stay home and you raise your kids, you turn them into young men and women, and they go out in the real world, and you have children to be proud of because you raised them and you didn't outsource them to the schools and daycare, right? You're proud of that. You have, oh, wait, oh, I didn't make the choice. You did. Shut up. Well, anyway, women in the past would be proud of their children, and then they'd have grandchildren, and grandmothers would love them and kiss them. Anyway, that's right. So even when I don't have something to do, there's an accomplishment. You don't get that. That's what you're meant to do. And it is a nightmare to me. I look at now, yes, admittedly, I'm more type A. I can't sit still. I just now got Expedition 33, and I got something I can sit down and chill with. Because holy shit, video games suck nowadays. This one's spectacular. It's actually something I look forward to. I could sit down and chill out. Well, unless I got something to sit down and chill out about, and especially now, if you didn't know, I built this small little house, and my goal is to get all the projects done, and all the people left. Oh, the projects are never done. I say, I'll show you, and I did. Projects are all done. The only project I had left this year was to add some lights, some solar. You just put them in the ground. That's not even a project. That's like delivered by Amazon. That was it. The project done. So I got nothing to do a lot of times. I got a lot of videos and other crap to do. But all of a sudden, I'm starting to get a lot of free time. And I'll go to the gym, right? I'll do everything I should do. I'll get my work done. I'll do the consulting I got to do. I'll get the whatever, grocery shop, standard stuff you got to do. Especially since I've been sick. Past month, man, there's been times like it is 3 p.m. and I won't be falling asleep till 10. And I won't lie, there's a little bit of dread. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do today? I look at it, and the tedium, a lot of there's always something to do. You can stain the deck, I suppose. You want to do something a little bit more industrious, a little bit more fun. And I'm like, nope. And I don't want to call it fear, but an agitation forms in my stomach like, fuck. That's me trying to make it from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. when I go to sleep. A lot of you old time, you retired people, right? Your favorite time is to fall asleep. It's your favorite time in the day. Why? Because you don't have to worry about filling in your day. I can't imagine what it's like where you wake up and there's nothing to do because the government paid for everything. You got your food taken care of. You got your housing taken care of. Whatever else. I'm your healthcare is taken care of. Now, admittedly, it's shitty, all right, but it's enough to keep you alive. Like, what do you do 16 hours a day, man? And I gotta imagine it's gotta be drugs. I don't know how you do it without it. Look, even I was an alcoholic. Yeah, I'm an alcoholic. That's how I got through it. My purpose of drinking was to dull the pain of the fucking people I had to deal with. Right? having to deal with dumb fuck Americans, especially Minnesotans and bankers, right? Which I think that's how everyone I mean, everyone went to the bar afterwards. I'm not unique. So, but there was still a job. There was still dance classes I taught. There was still things going on. What do you do if you got nothing to do, man? No wonder you're doing drugs. No wonder you're playing video games. And for those of you who are on welfare and you're pissed off and you're miserable because the Democrats told you those rat bastards over there got more than you, right? You got to realize that you were not designed for this. That's why you're miserable. That's why you're angry. You're also unhealthy. I mean, with obesity going around, you're not going to live that long. And your entire life will be this misery as the Democrats keep you in that RoboCop tank, just alive so your nervous system can suffer some more. That's it. That'll be it. And whether that's a mentally delusional, effectively lower middle income girl trying to make it in New York, girl bossing and voting Democrat or whatever it is, the poverty Antifa that smells like moldy marijuana in Portland, the trailer park or ghetto or the barrio living at home, whether you're just playing video games doing nothing, or you're an older woman watching your fucking soaps, if that's a thing anymore. I don't know what people do older. Or the obviously tortured, mentally ill, drug addict Democrat who's gotten it so bad you now are homeless, you shit on the light rail in Minneapolis, you shit at the BART, you shit in public, you go to the food place, the food shelf, you're in line at the church. How how is that not torture? Right? You telling me that's one thing I always because I used to work security, we have to deal with homeless people in Minnesota. Well, it gets very cold. I'm like, how much do you hate work that you're homeless? They would try to find exhaust grates. This is how afraid they're. You tell me if this sounds harsher and harder and more painful than just working a regular 9 to 5. Homeless people were too lazy to even get a bus ride down to Florida or Texas or wherever it's warmer during winter. And they would go and find heat grates in Minnesota during winter to sleep on so that they wouldn't die. Buddy, it's a fraction the amount of work and pain working fast food or working security or Uber. I mean, it it's so much harder. That's physical pain and physical labor. And my question to all of you, whether you're the homeless person trying to find an exhaust vent to stay alive in a 20 below zero night, or you're Becky trying to fake it, trying to make it like your life is anything but a financial nightmare. I mean, I remember one gal, yeah, she bought an old used Mercedes because she had to impress her friends. She legit belonged to a Mercedes club. Got this shit piss Mercedes. And if you didn't know this about German cars, they break down after like 3 weeks. They just start breaking down. And oh, I see is that you need an oil change. That will be $2,000, and you need a special tool to do the oil change. First, we remove the passenger seat. That is step one of 3,275 to change your oil. And our oil is a special oil at $800 a quart. But it is good German engineering. Yeah, this is good. We have a good reputation with our cars. Yeah, she that was a nightmare, a fucking nightmare. I mean, her life was a nightmare. I was watching the nightmare, and the car would always break down. She'd have to have it towed with money she didn't have. She had to go and I won't say for what, but you guys paid a tremendous price for her medical care. Bitch didn't work. She could find money. Many thanks to you, taxpayers. Guess what? For a bitch that didn't work, she was fucking miserable. Oh, and surprise, fat. Surprise, surprise. And there was no love life. Surprise, surprise. You you can that's as good as it gets, I suppose. You could continue living that life, and that's it. You're the brain in the brainstem in RoboCop. That's it. That's all you are, and that would be your life. Or you could go work for a living, you which gives you something to do, and then maybe you got some money, and you could go do, I don't know, travel a little bit? I don't mean, like, fly to Europe or anything like that. I don't know. Have you been to Great America? I don't even know if those exist. Have you been to a national park in your have you been to a state park in your neighborhood? How about forget things you can do? Wouldn't it just be nice not to worry about money anymore? I mean, you always worry about money to some extent, but wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice to have something to do? A group of people that now corporate America's going, there are not great incentives to go work. I got it. Forget the fact it's work. You got to deal with these assholes and HR bitches and shit like that. I'm aware of. I understand why Gen Z is reluctant to go in. I get you. This is more like, gee, brain, what are we going to do today? It it's going to be a better life, and then you got some kind of accomplishment. And you may hate it, right? You may hate it that, oh, I gotta get a degree or I gotta get some kind of training. I gotta deal with an HR bitch and da 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 da. At least when you do that, you got a story. Atham, he wrote a poem or a prayer, I should say, about how he was thankful that he had to walk through a blizzard to go work at his job while he was majoring in chemical engineering. And it was a challenge that he got over. And he appreciated the challenge because one, it was something to do. Two, it showed himself what he could do. And three, it gave him confidence in himself. And by the way, your brain was occupied. That's another thing I found out. Your brain is occupied. No matter what crisis or problem or pain you're dealing with, your brain is occupied. That's a whole other, like if you're going through bad times, depressing times, keep your brain occupied. That's better than worrying about the bad shit. But it made him a better man. He went on a journey. Now, I'm not saying everyone's goal should be go get a master's degree and master the art of answering the HR quantahahas questions about what kind of fish would you be and why, and sitting in corporal bros. I'm not saying that's yeah, it's gonna suck. But at least it's something to do. At least you get a paycheck. And at the end of it, like, oh yeah. I mean, I know it sounds boring, but what if you just bought your own house? Or you bought your own condo? Yeah, I know prices are high. I'm aware of that. Okay. I'm not saying some big house, but what if you owned a piece of property? What if you were able to buy some land and build your own house, like with your own hands, or some kind of shelter, right? Or because it depends on ordinances by liberal white Karens, whether you can build a house there or not. If you could put a trailer there, fine. It's a trailer. It's a piece of shit trailer. What if you just fixed up your trailer? You cleaned it up. Oh my God. At the end of the day, your buddy still is high or hungover or whatever. And he jerked off to 5 girls on the internet that day. But then you have a clean trailer. And by the way, your accomplishments don't go away. They accrue. And soon, before you know it, you got a life. Of course, we have South Dakota internet. Bear with me. And then finally, so that's my argument to those of you on welfare. Like, you're just being kept alive to suffer more, frankly, to vote in and put Democrats into power. That's it. They bribe to keep you alive so you don't have to work. You put them in power. And you're kept alive day after day after day to suffer until you're fucking I mean, I can't imagine this. Okay, hear me out on this. Imagine the suffering of the Black community the past, what, 4 or 5 generations? Probably more like 4. Generation after generation after generation living wherever. Baltimore, the shit south side of Chicago. getting shot at, fucking you can't trust anybody because nobody's working, everyone's out for themselves, no community, a day and forget all that. Like, what is day to day to day like down there, man? What's that like? You're forced to go to school, you're not fuck this shit, the teachers fucking suck, but that's every school. Your childhood is sucked away from you, but that's every kid. And then you're dumped out and what? What? I mean, what? What? And then you have kids, although thankfully teenage pregnancy is going down across all races, so that's good. But in the past, it was like, and then you spit out a kid at 14, and your life is fucked, and you just start it over and over and over again. Like that has gotta be a miserable fucking life. Why don't you choose? The only way out of it is working. But I don't want to work. Yeah, what do you want to keep doing that? That has got to be so painful, tragic, sad, and miserable. And I got to imagine mentally taxing. It's got to be a mental nightmare. And then for those of you who are upset that these people literally are living off of you, whether it's Trisha in the suburbs who needs a student loan bailout, increasingly Tanner, young men are 3 times as likely to claim mental disability than women. Oh, I got a case of the autisms. Money, please. Your student loan bailouts, or just the rank and file. I need, the gal saying I can't afford food when she's 350 pounds. I don't care. Whatever it is, whoever is taking your money from you, realize there is some justice or balance in the universe. At the end of the day, these people are just kept alive to be miserable. There's your revenge, right? I like it that there is no welfare. I like it that every man and woman has to actually work and support themselves, and they go through the galvanizing process of becoming a self-supporting adult who's way more interesting than the creature kept alive on government dole. I like it that we'd all have some universal enemies in common. Like, yeah, remember when it was being poor and we had to eat ramen? We have that journey. We have that experience. We have that hardship in common, which would unite us more as a country. All right, but that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. Democrats are too invested. Human nature is too ingrained. There will always be a welfare class, and there will always be a group of people to capitalize and enslave those people upon it. Right? So there's always going to be a parasitic class. But if you want some vengeance, you want some justice, dude, they're fucking miserable. They've wasted their life. And fine, you might be paying 40% of your money into, well, average person pays 38% of their money in tax. You're wealthy, let's say you're paying half, right? Well, at least I know that's a lot of money. Yeah, but at least your daughter didn't come home at 13 pregnant. At least your son isn't a fucking drug addict. At least you have a place to go and something to do. At least you know to go to the gym and get in shape so that you might be able to have a good sex life with other equally attractive people. Although some people are not on board on that. I won't say which half of the population is kind of like anti-sex. I'm just saying in theory. You're the one who can afford to go to a national park. You're the one who can go out for a bike ride that day. You don't worry about food. Dude, the greatest thing about my life, I don't have like fancy shit. The thing I love most about my life is I don't have to worry about money anymore because I don't buy fancy shit. Therefore, and that I'm no economist here, but if you don't waste your money on expensive fancy shit, you got money, right? It's amazing how many people have the fancy shit, but they don't got the money. But girls, you don't know the difference. Oh my God, he has a Ferrari. Yeah, but he ain't got no money. All of his money went to buy that car. Shiny object. That's and that you're not confused. You don't have to do drugs to make yourself feel normal. You go, you work out, you achieve, you accomplish. You have that rock to push up the hill. Maybe society doesn't reward you. Maybe society yells at you and punishes you. And certainly ain't nobody sucking your him in the kitchen. That's all right, because you know what? You're way better off than the welfare class. You're way better. I mean, really think about it. Your average millennial, right? 41, 42 years old, and you're still bitching about your student loans? You you still what's that like him having that monkey hanging off your back because you were too lazy to go work a second job part-time back when you were in your 20s? I saw an article, the woman's probably 60 now, but she was 58, had a master's degree and like a quarter million in debt. Of course, a master's degree in public health administration, which is bullshit. And she was, I didn't know how debt worked. Like, how do you have a master's degree and not know how debt works? Yes, she was fat. Yes, she was lazy. What's it like being the brain and the brainstem in the vat at Robocop 2, lady? Oh, 58, you got a quarter million in debt with an unemployable degree or marginally employed. Her Could you punish her more? Could she You can't hurt them more than they're hurting themselves. Her life is over. I mean, she's too fat. She ain't gonna find some rich 70-year-old to kinda take care of her. Sorry, ladies, it's a factor. Really, what and imagine this, right? We're coming up well, we're here. Imagine all the Murphy Brown divorcee girl boss boomer women. You know, got their hair cut short. They did an article about the gal who, like, she's a teacher and she's gonna go on a cruise for the rest of her days. I don't think she's happy. No one's visiting you guys, and a lot of you boomers don't have enough money. I'm on a fixed income. I don't have enough for retirement. I must suck to be you. And your entire life was fucking slaving away for the corporations, paying taxes, commuting, getting divorced, getting married, getting divorced again, going into debt, paying lawyer fees, getting divorced, and just consumerism, getting a loan for a boat, whatever it is you all did. You didn't have no families. You didn't have no Christmases. You didn't have no grandchildren. I mean, you might have had grandchildren. Some of you had to raise your own grandchildren. I can tell the difference. The grandparents, the boomer grandparents that are happy and smiling, and they got the little kid. Well, okay, they got the kid for the day. The boomers who are sad and miserable and defeated, and they're pushing the straw. Oh, you're raising your kid for your daughter who was a whore. Aha, yeah. Because you didn't believe in negative reinforcement. There's no spanking in that family. Let me see. Did you put your daughter in some timeouts? We don't do that. We don't do that. I mean, what's that life like? There's your legacy, right? This 58-year-old lady who what the quarter million what's it gonna be 15 years from now? What's her legacy? There was somebody I ran into in my past, and let's say they were criminals. I don't mean they were committing a crime. They were dishonorable. They were lazy. They were trying to get free money. This is, gosh, 25 years. It was a long time ago, almost half my life ago. And then I Google searched their name. Surprise, they were getting evicted out of their house. Oh, and this person is divorced. The spouse is no longer there. This person is, I think, in their 70s. Last I checked, and they had a GoFundMe to bail her out of her. She needed lodging money. I'm like, wow, that's your life, huh? Your entire life, you've just been avoiding work. And I don't know how, I mean, what, tens, maybe hundreds of millions. We consider all the generations of what is it like living in a trailer in Wyoming and having 3 kids from 3 different women, and you gotta go work some painfully physically demanding job, like in a coal mine or working in the winds of Wyoming, outdoor framing, and being drunk all the time. What is that like, man? You couldn't punish these people more because they're just kept alive to be tortured more. And, dude, if it just ends, that's merciful, right? If your life is gonna be pain and suffering the entire time, I mean, a lot of people choose, medically assisted something to do that. Really, tell me the difference here. Tell me the difference. You're a 78-year-old man, right? You have lived a great life, but you're 78, and you know what? Your family has cancer, and now you got stage 4 terminal cancer. There is no cure, and your choices are now, look, you're gonna be alive for, like, 3 months, but you're gonna be doped up on so much painkillers, you're not gonna know who you are, you're gonna be shitting your pants, da 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 da. Without the painkillers, fine, you'll know who you are, but you're gonna be in wreathing pain. That is a logical point in time to consider assisted something, or as I like to call it, the Smith& and Wesson retirement plan, right? You're gonna die anyway. Why suffer the pain? Why burden society with your unnecessary medical costs to keep you alive for 3 months more, right? See where I'm going with this? There are people who are 19 years old that are in that same position. You It's a painful life now. We could treat you with drugs, but you ain't gonna be right in your mind. But we're not talking 3 months left of your life expectancy. We're talking 60 fucking years of pain and misery. And the solution is you get off your ass and get a job and go do something with your life. And it's kind of the same cowardice, like, I mean, to end it, the Smith& Wesson retirement, that takes a lot, right? No matter how little life, no matter how many, wow, I gotta end my sentience now. Wow, that takes balls, right? I talk a big game, but when the time comes, I can't promise you I'm gonna do it. What if I wanna stay alive a little bit longer? That kind of thing. What? These people who are afraid of an 8-hour workday, you think they're gonna pull the trigger? No. They're doomed. They're condemned. They're damned their entire life to suffer. But it ain't like a cancer patient who's gonna suffer 3 to 6 months. It's gonna be 6 fucking decades. You want your revenge? You want your comeuppance? You want your justice? There it is. And man, it's so bad, especially if you get that leftist mentality. Like you could be a rich leftist and you're pissed. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Look at Hillary Clinton. Look at all these rich leftists. They fucking hate their lives. The men are happy because they're getting laid. You ever look at Hillary Clinton? She's always pissed and Bill's smiling because Bill's getting laid. I don't even think Bill believes it. I don't think, I'm going to tell these people what they want to hear. And then the boomer women are like, he played the saxophone. Yay. I like Hillary. She's a strong, independent woman who lets her husband fuck other women. She's really strong and independent. Yeah, but he's dicking other women. She was a lawyer. Go Murphy Brown some more, you boomer ladies. Oh, so link below. I only have 2 resources for you if you happen to be poor and you want to get out of this fucking night. You don't want to be the brain stem and the brain and the vat and RoboCop 2. All right. You want to live your life. You want the pain to end. All right. The Dad You Never Had. It's a course available on teachable.com. Just search it, The Dad You Never Had. It's linked below. And then a book, though not specifically towards this topic, it's called How Not to Become a Millennial. Because you're all lied to about everything. About how to work, what to do, how to make money, how to get out of poverty. Hang on, here's the internet again. Okay, that was a short one. If you basically you're poor because you're given the wrong information, right? Here's why most people are poor. I know it's because the number one cause of poverty is kids you can't afford, but an even more fundamental reason we have poverty in America to the extent that we do is you were given the wrong rules to the game, right? There's the game of life and you got to play it and make money and things like that. And they're telling you rules to a completely different game. Basically, it's the rules to how to put Democrats into power so those people don't have to work for a living. I'm no joke. That's what it is. You were given the wrong rules. The millennials are that's why I wrote the book. They were definitely given the wrong rule book. And surprise, they have failed. A lot of times by no fault of their own. And so that's why I have that book, How Not to Become a Millennial, because it says, okay, here's all the lies you were told. And this is what happens. And here are the real rules to the game of life. But it says work hard and sacrifice and don't spend money I don't have. Yeah, it's how you survive, but that's better life than what you got now. I should write a book for ladies. How to be happy. Find a guy, have kids, and get dicked out. Wow. Have you thought about not putting a bunch of metal in your face? Have you have you tried not being fat and being quiet and just being a pleasant person? Just a recommendation. Look how much they got you. It's so funny where think about it. That's the truth. Be nice, be kind, be thin, have sex, right? I mean, that's pretty much it, right? I'm simplifying it a bit, but this is the ingredients. This is the recipe for making some pretty good chocolate chip cookies. Ah, the backlash you get to recommending to women, like, why don't you be thin, hot, nice, and have sex? That should tell you you've been told the wrong game. Like, women have definitely got a different rule book. Their rule book is how to hate men. That's their rule book. Can't imagine why you girls are unhappy. I could write you, yeah, I don't know, ladies. Instead of like going into debt for worthless degrees and commuting and paying taxes, working in the downtown office, I don't know. Have you thought about getting in shape, not tatting your face all over the place, not having a bunch of fucking piercings, not having a bunch of other men's kids, and then maybe, I don't know, finding a guy you like and go have some good sex? Have you tried that? I will have better luck getting every person out of poverty and off of welfare before I get women to do what would probably make them happy in life. That's why I have I got a book called The Black Man. I guess that's another good book, The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty. The reason I wrote it is because I actually think you can get black men out of poverty, and we have. The main reason I wrote is I had a lot of black clients who had questions. I'm like, well, if everyone's gonna have the same question, I'll just write a book, and here you go. But I got way more faith getting black men out of poverty than I do getting women in America to be nice. Out there, hey, you write that down as a quote. Oh my God, shut up. Just shut up. We're not the ones doing antidepressants with our master's degrees, making $150,000 for some bullshit job. Shut up. We're not the ones where 48% of us are on some kind of antidepressant. Shut up. No one cares. In the meantime, we're going to go help out the people who are willing to be helped. Let's go to the super chats. Ass bucket, $5. Liberals scream cuts when there aren't any cuts. There just isn't any increase to the benefits. Yes, that's a common tactic. Yes. Ass bucket, $2. They need to go back to USDA food coupons. It was sure fine. Well, here's what you need. You need to phase out the entire welfare state. You can't immediately end it. It's too much of a shock to the system. You're going to have people dying and rioting, and they're not going to know. You're going to need a tremendous training program about how to show the fuck up on time and be responsible. Bah, 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 bah. And then also, a mandatory third thing you need to do is you need to grab every fucking corporate executive in America in there, put them in an internment camp, and say, so we're going to re-educate you about how to make it easy for people to find jobs here in America. You're going to have training programs. You're not going to do this bachelor's required, master's preferred. We're not going to be doing HR. If we find out that, and then no joke, in Cappy World, in Minecraft, there'd be the gallows. And I sent some teams in to find out who were posting fake jobs that didn't exist just to get their data. Here are your corporate executives in the gallows. And there'd be a guy with the hood, and he'd pull the lever. And I'd say, so I think you all know my policy about posting fake job postings. Now, this would never happen. But the point is to get people out of poverty, out of this nightmare. You can't give them all this job training and how to show up on time, blah, 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 let alone education, without jobs being available. And you can say, well, the jobs are available. It's like you make it impossible to get them. Corporate America has got to make it way easier to find employment. Way easier. because that unto itself is an impossible hurdle to go through. A master's degree, who's got time or money for that? Let alone poor people. So there, you'd have to phase it out. But at the end, you know what my welfare system would be? It'd be private charity. That'd be it. Government's out of this shit. You know who's responsible for supporting yourself? You. Because this has been a fucking nightmare. All we did was increase the amount of people who suffered and endured poverty. It's no different than enabling drug addicts. That's all it is. That's all it is. Based $5. I'm on welfare, get 620 a week, 300 EBT, Medicaid, have a good amount saved. Learning to code in the meantime, planning my next move. Right, you're planning to get out of it. I'm wondering, like, how does one person get that much? Femboy Fantasia. I recently hiked Lookout Mountain in Minnesota. Where's that? Mountain. Where is this? It looks like it's how tall is it? 180 feet? Hang on. Highway 53, Lookout Mountain. Oh, it's up north by Virginia. Okay, cool. I'm glad you did the hike. Oh my God, look who's here. Speak of the devil. Atham, no doubt he has a super sticker that shows Mexican poops. Shadow Call, 10 generous dollars, inherited a Section 8 tenant in Columbia Heights who squatted past leaks, caused damage, and had her kids, all under 13, do the moving. Settled in court, $60 a month for 4 years. I feel horrible for the kids. Dude, why? I know you inherited. Why didn't you immediately sell that place? Columbia Heights, by the way, is an inner-ring suburb of the Twin Cities. Yeah. And that's another, like, okay, perfect example. This is a vile woman. A vile woman. Had kids she couldn't afford, probably different fathers, and destroyed your private property. And she gets free money from the government. What's her life like? He had to drag her to court, and now she's got $60 a month for 4 years, right? The kids are fucked. I mean, this is child abuse at the end of the day. Don't tell me she's partying it up, having a good time. Femboy Fantasia, $5. Cappy makes $1 million. Fuck you. You're a little accurate. Cappy makes $1 million. I can finally afford a 2011 V6 Mustang and those fancy sunglasses at the Loaf and Chuck. If I got $1 million, I would probably get the GT Mustang. I would not get the V6. I wouldn't be getting no Shelby or 302 Boss or whatever the higher performance packages are. But that 2011, 2012, maybe not the 2011, but the 2012 to 2016, I think that's the coolest looking Mustang. It's very muscular looking, like a muscle car. The newer ones are too thin and streamlined. They don't look like muscle cars anymore. They don't look bulky. 2011 V6. How dare you, sir? All right, that's it. Questions, answers, assholeconsulting.com. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.